that bell. Grand Rising, everyone. I want to bring your attention to something real quick. It's too much sauce. It's too much sauce. This guy right here. You hear these beats? This is my boy right here, KO Beats. Thought I'd just let y'all know. If you want some good beats that are very chill with nobody saying anything in the background, this is my guy. He is the coolest person. He's like, hey man, play my beats all you want in the background. I don't care. And I love him for that. So I just wanted to let y'all know that. If you want to listen to some nice beats, KO, he's got it. He's got it. He's the guy, KO. What's up, Copstar 5150? Crazy. What's up, a pig's daughter? What's up, John Williams? What's up, Health and Wealth? What's up, Heaven Gateman? Grand Rising to all of y'all. You know, I don't like to say good morning because we are mourning nothing. We are rising into a new day. It's a beautiful day. Even though it's cold and there's snow, it's still beautiful. Yo, what's going on? We the people shall prosper. A rude awakening. You right about that one. We coming with a rude awakening, that's for sure. The tribe, my brother. Hey, y'all see this guy in the chat right now? His name is the tribe. This guy right here knows his stuff. Okay, he's getting in deep. Okay. Hey, the tribe, I hope you come tonight to the Operation Wisdom. It's at 6 p.m. Okay. Ralph Riley, what's going on? What's up, David Hass? Yeah, the tribe, that's my boy. I can't wait to really talk to him in person. You've been putting in some great work, brother. I appreciate you. Okay. We got the next track in that's slowing us down, getting us ready to slide on into what we're going to be talking about today. If I could get this to work. Let's see. No, you don't want to? Okay, there we go. All right. Get this on full screen, and we're going to do continuous scroll. Whoa, that's big. Okay. All right, and let's get entire screen. Screen 1. Oh, preview. Okay. So again, Grand Rising, if you don't know what's going on, let me do this the right way. Hi, I'm Cameron Wilson, and this channel is Power Inherent in the People. This channel is not about me. This channel is about all of the people and everything that we can do to understand and learn more about who we are, the aspects of what things are put out there as far as rules and regulations, where they try to bind us through a contractual agreement, because that's the only way. Either way, though, we're here to focus on making sure that we can empower you. Not just me, it's everybody. Tonight, if you don't know, today is January the 2nd. Tonight at 6 p.m., we have an Operation Wisdom. That's where we join up all together on Zoom, and we have an amazing time. They're meant to be 3 hours, but they always go 4 or longer. And we have so much fun, and we learn so much. And yeah, we're having another one tonight, so you can visit the website. The link should be down in the description, and you'll see a Zoom link. You just click on that thing that says Zoom link free. Okay. But what we're getting into today is going to be, if my screen doesn't stop doing that, I swear. Today we're getting into a legal notice to sheriffs and all law enforcement. Now, y'all know I'm very, very big on giving notice. I think that's the most important thing that you can do, because again, by law, they have all eligibility to presume that you are operating in the normal fashion, or should I say normal, in the same fashion as what everybody else does, right? Commercially. It's just gone that way. That's where we've gotten to in our knowledge as far as our public is concerned. So that's why we're here to try and empower that. So, legal notice to all sheriffs and law enforcement. Let's get into it. The right of a citizen to drive and travel on a public street with freedom from police interference. Under the constitutional guarantee of liberty, one may, under normal conditions, move at his or her own inclination along the public highways or in public places, and while conducting himself or herself in an orderly and decent manner, neither interfering with nor disturbing another's rights, one will be protected, not only in his or her person, but in his or her safe conduct. Y'all know where that comes from. If you don't, that's a quote. Number one, for example, the right of a citizen to drive on a public street with freedom from police interference unless he or she is engaged in suspicious conduct associated in some manner with criminality. Okay? It must be paired and coupled with criminality. Mere suspicion of a crime is not enough, is a fundamental constitutional right. Right. Two, however, the liberty of each individual in a public vehicle or public place is subject to reasonable limitations in relation to rights of others. 3. 16 Am Juris 2D Constitutional Law, Section 624, quote, rights in public vehicles and places for purposes of liberty interest of due process clause, unquote. Did you hear that? That's a big one. Again, 16 Am Juris 2D Constitutional Law, Section 624. Rights in public vehicles and places for purposes of liberty interest of due process clause. A public vehicle is defined as a vehicle seeking employment from a general public. Huh? Webster's New International Dictionary of 2005. A public vehicle is a for-hire vehicle. Oh! The use of the highways for the purpose of transporting persons or property for hire by the ordinary means is indicated to and consistent with the primary purpose of their establishment, and is therefore a proper use in the absence of any restrictive regulation. Number one, such use is not, however, one which may be exercised as of right. See? Can't go out here making all Happy New Year's, Sly Shy. I see you in here. Sly Shy. But as a special or permissive use. Special or permissive. We know this. Okay. 2. A privilege. 7A, Am Juris 2D Automobile, Section 13, American Jurisprudence. Vehicles engaged in transportation for hire. Vehicles engaged in transportation for hire. You know what's always fascinated me is when you get people coming onto the channel, and there's not much. We don't get a lot of trolls, so I'm very thankful for that. But we have had some come recently because we're making a little bit more noise. And, they always come on and say, I want to see it say that it's a privilege and blah, 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 and it's like, dude, you can literally see in your statutes that it literally says for the transportation of persons or goods or property, right? It usually says for the transportations of persons or goods. And they literally in their minds think, hey, man, that's me. I'm a person and I am transporting myself. That's how they think. Or they say goods. They're thinking in their minds, those goods are my groceries, right? My belongings. First off, you got to understand, what is a person? Can someone in the chat tell me what a person is? The first person that tells me what a person can be, I'm going to give a free copy of my book right now. Other than what we logically think it is. Got to give me your email. But I want to know, what is another definition for a person? Can someone please tell me? An entity, Christian. If you ain't got my, let me mark these down. Let me open up my notes. Y'all gonna have to. We got Christian. A person is a taxpayer. John Williams. Heaven said it right. A corporate entity. A monster is a human. A man is a person, but a person cannot be a man. Thank you. Christian, a creation of the commerce. Thank you. Individual. Then we get into the aspects of what is an individual? I mean, it gets so deep. So if we really logically think about it here, let me get back over here on my screen. Y'all shoot me a y'all email right here. Y'all shoot me an email. For those who just answered correctly, I already wrote y'all down. My email is also in the description of this video, okay? It's a little bit easier for you guys to copy and paste. Okay. Where I need to get to, I need to get back over here. Okay. So, a person literally can be a county. It can be a city. It can be a corporation. It can be a foundation. It can be an organization. A person literally goes beyond what you think a person is. Well beyond what you think a person is. Okay? The state claims driving is the state, not just me. It's not just Cameron Wilson empowering inheriting the people, or what we like, or what others like to label us as sovereign citizens. The state claims driving is a special or permissive use, a privilege. That's why you got those cops all the time talking about. So not a human. Exactly right, Sly. So you got all these people out here talking about driving's a privilege, not a right. You know what I gotta say? You're right. I agree with you. We don't have to argue about this. I am in total agreement with you if you're using the definitions in a legalese manner. So, the state, or the power of the state, does the power of the state, let me ask everybody, does the power of this man, the state has no power over you, okay? The power of the state to license or tax motor vehicle registration is a traditional government function. Number one, because the operation of a motor vehicle is a privilege. Two, the legislature of each state may, in the exercise of the police power, which what? If you look at that amendment in relation to the police power, what does it say at the very end of that bad boy? In limitation of the Constitution. Under Constitution limitations, the very end of police power. So don't be sitting here being like police power just takes over blatantly everything. That's not how it works. It's within constitutional limitations. Enact reasonable legislation or regulations requiring the licensing or registration of motor vehicles. 3, including the private motor carriers. Private motor carriers. They be coming on to me and telling me, hey, Cameron, just go get another contract with the Department of Transportation as a private carrier. Bro, just because you're a private carrier does not mean. No, Christian, you're not banned from chat, brother. We see you. Does not mean that it is still not fall under carrier. A carrier is a carrier of persons or goods, property. You still fall under that line of authority. Okay? Private motor carriers of property. 4. And public or common. 5. And public or common. Right? You got private, public, and common. These are all types of carriers under the Department of Transportation, which requires a contract. You got to learn the definitions, okay? 4, in public and common. 5, carriers of persons or property for hire. 7 a.m. Juris 2D automobiles, Section 60, power of the state to license or tax. Generally, licensing or registration enactments frequently are made applicable to motor carriers, that is, to vehicles operated for compensation or for hire. There it goes again. So don't listen to me. Please don't listen to me. Listen to this definition that is highlighted on the screen when you talk about, Cameron, just go get a passport and get your private DOT number. Okay. Amjur's 2D automobile, Section 60, power of the state to license or tax. Generally, licensing or registration enactments frequently are made applicable to motor carriers, that is, to vehicles operated for compensation or for hire. So if you're using that private motor carrier DOT number that you got, you're still under their jurisdiction, bro. That's what that contract is for. Again, under the automobiles, Section 85 of motor carriers, because the use of the highways for the purpose of transporting persons or property for hire is a special or permissive use, a privilege. a privilege. 7A AM jurors 2D, automobiles, section 13, vehicles engaged in transportation for hire. However, to drive one's own car to travel about isn't the same as driving public vehicles for hire. Clearly, Code section 9-18-2-22, additional fees, licenses, permits, and numbers prohibited. Exception, effective July 2nd, 2016, section 22. A person that, 1, owns a motor vehicle. Can anybody tell me what the weight limit is to become? There's a weight limit. There's a certain amount of pounds that your automobile must be in. And I'm not even going to use automobile anymore after we done did some more research on what automobile is as far as its definition within Black's and Bovier's. But I mean, it still can be used, but I don't like it. But y'all tell me, what is the minimum capacity as far as weight is concerned in relation to motor vehicle? It has to be a certain weight. Can y'all guess it? 10,000 is a good guess, but we're not there. Go on up some more. It ain't 10,000. Take it up a little more. It ain't 10,000. Bad boy's 20,000. To be defined as a motor vehicle, your vehicle must be 20,000 pounds to be defined as a motor vehicle, y'all. Except as a person that owns a truck or motor vehicle used in transporting passengers or property for hire. So there's the distinction. David has 26. And 2, has obtained a certificate of registration under this title, is not required to pay another license fee, obtain any other license or permit to use or operate the motor vehicle on the highways, or display upon the motor vehicle any other number other than the number issued by the Bureau. Again, that's all in relation to DOT numbers, y'all. The code section 9-18-2-22 exempts those traveling and not for hire. What? Exempts those traveling and not for hire. Why? Because a state may not impose a charge for the enjoyment of a right, a secured liberty that is guaranteed by your happiness, granted by the U.S. or United States Constitution. 51 AM jurors 2D, licenses and permits, section 7, taxing power of the state constitutional law, May 2021, update. Now, the public are entitled to a free passage along the highway. Why are you entitled to a free passage along the highway? Because we are free. We are free. Administration to a free man is repugnant to his freedom. Any the existence of a public highway creates a public easement of travel, which permits the general traveling public to use the highway at will. Do you understand how easy that line of thought is? You understand how easy it is to understand that you are free? Do you understand that? Do you see how easy it is to understand that no one can tell you what to do? You understand that's what freedom entails, right? It's kind of like Brian over at the civil rights attorney always says, freedom is scary. Deal with it. Okay? You may not like a lot of things that people do because they're free, but you can't stop it. Never will you. Now, again, the existence of a public highway creates a public easement of travel, which permits the general traveling public to use the highway at will. 2, 39 AM jurors, 2D highways, streets and bridges, section 145, right of all to use, constitutional law, May 2021, update. The public right to the use of a street for travel is absolute and paramount, and greater than that of an individual to occupy it for other purposes. What? Let's go back to that one more time. The public right, this is now within the code, okay? With this is within their code, okay? We're reading from their code, Okay, you can see the footnote right here. You want to click on some links? It's all in here, y'all. The public right to the use of a street for travel is absolute and paramount, and greater than all of an individual to occupy it for any other purpose. Any other purpose. You are the highest. Streets and highways are primarily for the benefit of the traveling public and only incidentally for the benefit of property owners along them. 39 am jurors to the highways, streets, and bridges, section 147 of the Superior Rights of Public. Constitutional Law, May 2021 update. So, it is pretty clear at this point that driving is a regulated occupation of for hire driving. In contrast to the right to travel, the right to drive for hire is not a fundamental constitutional right, but a privilege. Two, whenever an individual chooses to drive an automobile in a state, he or she surrenders his or her individual liberties to the extent necessary for compliance with relevant traffic statutes and ordinances that are necessary for general welfare of the public. And why is that? Because they got big trucks. They got all kinds of tools dropping all over the place. These bad boys with them concrete trucks are concrete's flying and hitting all over breaking people's windshields. And they need to have regulations for those things. Clearly. Why? For the general welfare of the public. That doesn't mean we are preemptively going out here and saying, oh, well, we've got to regulate you because what if something happens? No, sir. This country doesn't work on what ifs. Sorry. Move along. This is not a Minority Report. Ordinances. Okay, here we go. 3, revocation of the privilege to operate a motor vehicle on public roadways may properly be based on non-compliance with statutory law. What is statutory law? Y'all tell me another name, a great name for statutory law. What do they call it? What do they call it when we're talking about Title 18, Section 242? What is statutory law? What is statutory law? Y'all give it to me. What is it? I want to know. I want to see it in the chat. What is statutory law? Under Title 18, Section 242, it's a deprivation of what? Come on now. Somebody give it to me now. I know somebody got it. What is statutory law? Someone, please. I need color. It's color of law. It's a color of law. It's not real law. It's colored law. It has a veil on it. You see? It's like that Halloween costumes we wear. You see? I'm not really Michael Myers when I put on that mask. You see? I'm not in the movie. I'm not really out here acting it out. I'm inside, I'm still Cameron. But I put on that mask and it makes it look as though I'm Michael Myers. And I can scare the hell out of a lot of people. Doesn't mean I'm the real Michael Myers. You get it? Do you get it? It's a fake. It's a fraud. That little plastic knife ain't hurting nobody. Let's get back to it. Unless you let it. Again, revocation of the privilege to operate a motor vehicle on public roadways may properly be based on non-compliance with statutory law, and revocation is not an infringement on the revokee's right to travel. 4, 16A CJS Constitutional Law Section 796 relating to driving. When used in its broad sense, the word taxes may include a license fee. Got it? Do we got it? You understand that? When used in its broad sense of the word, taxes may include a license fee. Okay, you go out there and you're getting your driver's license, that's a tax. Okay, such fees may be imposed upon an occupation, business, or calling, or the exercise of a privilege. Now, let me ask you something here. Do you have a right to travel in your private property, or do you need to go ask for a privilege? You're either a king in this world or you're a slave. Kings demand, slaves request. Get what I'm saying? Our country had too many people die for us, not for everyone to understand who they are. You are a creation of the Creator. Stop allowing yourself to minimize who you are. 51 AM Juris 2D licenses and permits, section 4 licenses, fees as taxes, May 2021 update. Again, one can clearly see 16A CJS Constitutional Law Section 796 relating to driving. In contrast to the right to travel, the right to drive is not a fundamental constitutional right. 1, but a privilege. 2, is closely related to 7A Am Juris 2D Automobile Section 13 Am Juris vehicles engaged in transportation for hire. You understand why now they had all them plates on the back of their cars that just said not for hire? I'm private. I'm not operating in a commercial capacity. Leave me alone is literally what that means. The use of the highways for the purpose of transporting persons or property for hire is a special or permissive use. Now, what's really amazing in this is when you see this kind of thing right here, for me anyways, I've read so much in relation to going back into statutes, and I will bring up this point real quick because this is good for all of my people who want to learn more about the court aspect. Okay, so I'm gonna read this sentence here, and it says the use of the highways for the purpose of transporting persons or property for hire is a special or permissive use, a privilege. Okay, now normally what happens is that in the very basic intent and aspect of the legislation in which it was wrote in the first place, or legislature, when you look and go all the way back, what you'll notice is that they've deleted these exact words and left in everything else in this quote. Like, let's say, we're doing like here, and we're going to be talking about the use of highways for the purposes of transporting persons or property, right? And it would be like maybe it's for like motor vehicle or something like that, right? Now, what's crazy is in the legislature, in the very beginning of them, they would have these words for hire, and it would also have special or permissive use. What they've done is they've updated these these statutes to delete for hire, but it literally still says the use of the highways for the purposes of transporting persons or property. They delete this, and they'll delete this whole sentence right here, and they won't let you know. So then you're sitting here and you're thinking, you're reading this statute from here, today's day and age, and what they use in the courts, and you're like, well, I guess this is it. This is what I have to go by. But what you're not really thinking about is that there's a rule and principle within the courts, okay, that you can invoke. It's called the whole, like if something's whole, rule, act. And what that does is when you invoke it, okay, you got to invoke it. What happens is you have to go back. They have to go back and look at the very beginning of the statute and where it originated and what was what was its intent? What did it focus around? Okay. Well, clearly they included for hire, and they also included the sentence of is a special or permissive use a privilege for a reason. To clearly let you know within the statute that we're only talking about those who are using it in a special or permissive use, right? In the unusual manner, which is to travel. See, you see Tribe? Now, Tribe's going to know better than anybody. This boy's deep in it. Tribe brought up something perfect. He said, those revisions were done by staff, not the legislatures. Revisions were not enacted by law. And that's the whole point of it. You have to invoke the whole rule act so that in the court, we start going and looking it back all the way to the very beginning of the statute itself. And what was the intent of the statute? Thereby allowing the judge to move on our favor and in our behalfs. Then, if the state tries to go outside the statute in any form or fashion in that regard, we invoke another principle, the rule of lenity, thereby putting the district attorney or anyone that may bring forth a claim before us into a barrier that they cannot go outside of whatsoever. The problem is we don't know these things. And that's why we're here to bring them forth so that everybody can go forth in a propria persona manner to manifest freedom. It's all about knowledge, y'all. That's the only way that they've held us in chains is by the lack of knowledge, by putting all this redundant BS entertainment in front of us. Whether you're sitting here year after year watching cops beating up people and never doing anything about it, but yet complaining in the comments, we're here to do something about it. We got the traffic law reform. We're standing up for our rights by doing education. We're doing what we can in the Operation Wisdom class or meetings to have everybody learn so that they can bring forth their own civil suits. That's what this is all about. This is a notice. This right here that we're going over is a notice to give forth. If you don't want to do the notice of liability, maybe this is the notice you want to give. It's totally up to you how you do it because you are the king. You are the queen. You are the highest of authority. There is nothing above you. Nothing above you. And there never will be until you allow it to happen, whether by bringing forth a crime, harm to another, or you just simply waive your rights. It's all up to you. It's all up to you. All right, let's get back to it. Get back to finishing up this notice here on them boys, this legal notice to them sheriffs and law. Now, again, the use of the highways for the purpose of transporting persons or property for hire is a special or permissive use. Again, a privilege. That's why when the cop's saying driving's a privilege, not right. Good sir, you're right. I don't. Because both sections of Section 796 and Section 13 are about a special or permissive use, the privilege to operate for hire. No other conclusion would be logical, as 16 Am Juris 2D, Constitutional Law, Section 624, quote, rights in public vehicles and places for purpose of liberty interest of due process clause, unquote, clearly states the right of the citizen to drive on a public street with freedom from police interference unless he or she is engaged in suspicious conduct associated in some manner with criminality is a fundamental constitutional right. Uh-oh. I don't know how that happened there. Let's get that highlighted for you boys. Maybe I'll need to see that one more time. Persons are artificial entities, as the tribe says perfectly. I ain't no entity unless we talking about the highest of all authority. Better back up, we with my tribe. We, the people, we coming right now. You can't deny that we got the knowledge. It's all inside and we manifest and we doing this and they stopping that or we pursuing. Civil sits and we coming down the hammer pursuing that. Verdict, give me that verdict. Give me that verdict. Give me that verdict. And I don't want no qualified immunity. We coming with the highest of authority. Give me that verdict. You see why I like KO beats? Oh, I just fall in love. I just be vibing, y'all. Sorry, bro. Sorry. Okay. I'm being me. That's all I can be is me. Just let me be, please. This is the only way revocation in Section 796 is not an infringement on the revokee's right to travel. Keep it simple. To read it any other way would make 16A CJS Constitutional Law, Section 796, relating to driving, and 16 AM Juris 2D Constitutional Law, Section 624. Rights in public vehicles and places for purposes of liberty. And what do you have? The pursuit of? You have the pursuit of what? What is guaranteed to you? I need those three things. What are those three things? I need to see it. What is it? Three things in relation to liberty. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Of due process clause. Conflict with each other, which would mean a conflict would exist in the Constitution and that it cannot be. A conflict between constitutional amendments exists if one provision authorizes what the other forbids. Section 796 forbids under the states reading what Section 624 authorizes. Thank you. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. Celio, Amen, got it right. I see you, Sly Shy. You got it right too. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, prosperity. Boom. Tribe hit it again. Everything is about presumptions. I think he was just reading about that yesterday or the day before. I think I caught that live where they was talking about they have the right to presume. They are presumed valid unless rebutted. Thank you. You got to know. You have to have the knowledge of who you are. When possible, the interpretation of a constitutional provision will be harmonized with other provisions to avoid unreasonable or absurd results. Every time you waive your rights, it's absurd results. It really is. Every effort should be made to construe constitutional provisions harmoniously, and no provision should be construed to nullify or impair another. 21. Apparently conflicting provisions of a constitution. 22. Or ambiguous provisions should, if possible, be construed harmoniously. 23. 16 jurisprudence constitutional law, section 66. Reading Constitution as a whole. Uh-oh. Are we getting into that whole rule act again, guys? Whole. Giving effect to every word and part. 2021 update. Neither should the judiciary indulge in or follow any ingenious refinements or subtlety of reasoning as to the meaning of its provisions. I love that. That's a great sentence. Neither should the judiciary indulge in or follow any ingenious refinements or subtlety of reasoning as to the meaning of its provisions. A court will not construe a constitutional provision to arrive at a strained, unpractical, or absurd result. What could be more absurd than getting penalized by translating or trying to transfer a right into a privilege and then trying to issue a fee and regulations and license for it? That's the most absurd result of them all. For having the license in and of itself does not ensure public safety. You trying to tell me a piece of paper that shows a status that my car is up to date in your system determines the eligibility on how I can drive or how I do conduct myself on the public roads? That makes no sense. That makes no sense whatsoever. Avoidance of narrow, technical, or absurd construction of constitutional provision. Thank you. In other words, the Supreme Court will consider a constitutional amendment as a whole and, when possible, adopt an interpretation of the language which harmonizes different constitutional provisions rather than an interpretation which would create a conflict between such provisions. 616. Jurisprudence Constitutional Law, Section 67. Harmonizing constitutional elements with an antecedent constitutional provisions. A conflict between constitutional amendments exists if one provision authorizes what the other forbids or forbids what the other authorizes. Of course, only where an irreconcilable conflict exists between different provisions of the Constitution, the office of judicial construction is to determine which will prevail. Distinct provisions of the Constitution are repugnant to each other. I love that word. Repugnant to each other in such a way as to be irreconcilable only when they are related to the same subject, are adopted for the same purposes, and cannot be enforced without material and substantial conflict. If there is a conflict between... You want to know what's so funny, bro? You want to know what's so funny? Okay, wait. I have to do this. Now, if we get in somewhere where we get a sheriff that is really just like he's been in law his whole life, whether it's maybe like, like you're actually practicing law and then you become like a sheriff, I could understand them getting this notice and reading it and understanding it, but they are not going to understand this, bro. This is going to go right over there. Most sheriffs and law enforcement, you file this notice with them, it's going to go right over their head. That's why I keep it simple with the notice of liability that I got. But this is one. And you could utilize some of these elements in your own notice of liability if you want to make your own in conjunction with what you see I do. That's what this is all about. You're not supposed to just copy what I do. You're supposed to look at what I do and say, I want to include my own elements to what I'm creating because I am me. Don't just copy me. Don't just copy and paste. Change it up. Give yourself some power. Take some power away. It's all up to you. You make the choice. Okay, back to it. Okay. If there is a conflict between a general and a special or specific provision in a constitution, the special or specific provision must prevail in respect of its subject matter, but the general provision will be left to control in cases where the special or specific provision does not apply. Although the terms of an organic provision will not be strained to imply limitation upon the lawmaking power of the legislature, where express and definite limitations are imposed by one section of organic law, amendments of other sections of the Constitution will not be construed to remove such fixed limitations further than the terms of the amendment fairly require. Thank you. 916 M. Juris 2D Constitutional Law, Section 68. Irreconcilable conflict between separate provisions of Constitution. The constitutional freedom to travel includes the freedom to enter and abide in any state in the Union. Any state in the Union. Any state in the Union. However, the means or mode of traveling may be subjected to reasonable regulations. State law implicates the constitutional right to travel when it actually deters such travel, when impeding travel is its primary objective, or when it uses any classification which it serves to penalize exercise of that right, or when it uses any classification which it serves to penalize exercise of that right, or when it uses any classification which it serves to penalize exercise of that right. I'm sorry I'm being a broken record here, but I mean, my God. 16 Am. Juris 2 Constitutional Law, Section 623. The right to travel is a fundamental right. Reasonable regulations is merely safe operation. Can't run stop signs, exceed speed limits, or disregard traffic signals. It's pretty simple, right? Pretty simple. Those are the rules of the roads in America if you are traveling freely. Those right there. That's it. That's it. That's it. Merely safe operation. Can't run any stop signs. Can't exceed the speed limits or disregard traffic signals. Okay? License would deter such travel and impede travel, cause classification of license and unlicensed. Accordingly, restrictions on the right to travel cannot be dismissed by asserting that the right to travel can be fully exercised if the individual first gives up membership in a given association. CJS Constitutional Law, Section 25. Due process considerations with respect to right to travel. This would include leaving the unlicensed group classification to become licensed. A constitutional provision must never be construed in such a manner as to make it possible for the will of the people to be frustrated or denied. Oh, because why? We the highest of authority. No, you ain't really stopping. We ain't. I'm telling you, man, we not doing that. Now, if a constitutional provision has received a settled judicial interpretation and is incorporated into a new constitution, it will be presumed. Are you breaking the presumption? To have been retained with knowledge of the previous construction, and courts will be bound to adhere thereto, especially since we got Chevron deference repealed. Again, Constitutional Law, Section 90. And then we got a Sprout versus City of South Bend. This is 1926, cited 5 times. So the question for decision in this case is the validity or invalidity of certain ordinances of the City of South Bend. The statute constituting the city charter authorizes cities to regulate, tax, and license coaches, hacks, drives, automobiles, and all other vehicles, and to license, tax, and regulate public hackmen, draymen, omnibus drivers, carters, cabmen, porters, expressmen, bill posters, and all other persons pursuing all other persons, businesses, states, corporations, foundations, right? Persons pursuing like occupations for pay or hire. Okay, and that's section 108 102, 84, CLS 32, 38, Burns 1926, Acts 1905, page 219, 252, section 53. And the Motor Vehicle Registration Act then provided that, quote, no owner of a motor vehicle, 2 words there, motor vehicle has to be at what weight limit, y'all? Except motor trucks and motor-driven commercial vehicles should be required to pay any municipal tax or license fee in addition to the registration fee paid to the Secretary of State, with a proviso that nothing in the act should be construed as affecting the power of municipal corporations to make and enforce ordinances, rules, and regulations affecting motor trucks and motor-driven commercial vehicles used within their limits for public hire. That's at the very end of it. It says for public hire. That doesn't mean all of that applies to free man. It means within their limits of for public hire. I'm not for public hire, bro. I am private. What? What? You're not going to publicly hire me? What I look like? Huh? I'm not getting paid by Section 1047. Section 10476D Burns 1914 Acts 1913 page 779 and 789 section 17. Oh wait, yep. Conversely, the failure of the legislature to act cannot take away the right constitutionally granted. Again, section 102. Now, the question for decision in this case is the validity or invalidity of the state's authority to license the right to travel about a car for day-to-day living. Those who have a right to do something, quote, this is a quote. Those who have a right to do something cannot be licensed for what they already have a right to do. Such license would be meaningless. Kill him. That's the best one. Oh, this is the best one. Those who have a right to do something. Oh, I'm going full screen on this one. I'm going full screen on this. Those who have a right to do something cannot be licensed for what they already have a right to do. As such, license would be meaningless. Crutcher versus Kentucky, 141 U.S. 47, 1891, 11 SCT 851, cited 229 times. Caldwell versus North Carolina. We also have what else? We have Adams Express Co. versus New York. We also have First Family Mortgage Company versus Durham. We also have Supreme Court of New Jersey. And then we got Dennis versus Higgins. Then we also got Predka versus Iowa. Then we also got what is this? Cash America Net versus Nevada versus Commonwealth. Then we've got Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, Middle District Rivera, Corraliza versus Morales, and in Crutcher versus Kentucky in 1891. What? What? Like, we're not playing with these people no more, y'all. This is ridiculous. Do you see how ridiculous this is? Okay. Let me come over here and do the window so you can see just what you need to realize here, guys. Okay. Where's this at? All of this. See all that case law that backs you up? That says those who have a right, which is a liberty, to do something cannot be licensed for what they already have the right to do. As such, license would be meaningless. Oh, that's it. There it is. That's all you need right there. That's all you need right there, in my opinion. I'm invoking some rules. I'm putting this quote in with all of the sightings. And that's it. I mean, what else do you have to do after that? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. In which the court struck down a license requirement imposed on certain out-of-state companies. The court stated, quote, to carry on interstate commerce is not a franchise or a privilege granted by the state. It is a right when every citizen It is a right. It is a right. It is a right which every citizen of the United States is entitled to exercise under the Constitution and laws of the United States, because states cannot license a right. The vitality of constitutional principles also cannot be allowed to yield simply because of a disagreement with them. Thus, an effort to accommodate community sentiment or the wishes of the majority of the voters, although usually valid and desirable, cannot justify the abandonment of a constitutional or fundamental constitutional right. Constitutional law again, Section 7. Constitution not subject to suspension, departure, or abandonment. Constitution, the Constitution, the Constitution is not subject to suspension, departure, or abandonment. Can't do it, buddy. Can't do it. Statutory law, or should I say colorable law, excuse us, let's put it right. That law that likes to put on that mask and act as though it's real, as it's the real Michael Myers, but it's a fraud, it's a phony, it's a little short shriveled man with a plastic knife. It's got blood inside of it. It's that fake blood inside, the plastic, it's fake. It doesn't really hurt you. It's what statutory law is. In order to be valid, must conform to applicable constitutions. What does it say? Must conform to applicable constitutions, both federal and statute. And now that Chevron deference is gone, it's even more so. In other words, constitutional language controls legislative language. You're right. Accordingly, constitutional provisions control any conflict with lesser laws. You're right, such as statutes, local ordinances, administrative regulations, and case law. No statute can, therefore, breathe life into an instrument made and executed in contravention of a constitutional inhibition. You see how deep we can get? Yo, y'all listen to Tribe. Y'all listen to Tribe. Tribe is deep in this, y'all. All he does is read this very deep stuff. Tribe, I hope we see you tonight, brother. A state may lawfully exercise its police power to protect public health, safety, welfare, and morals. And morals. When did they forget about the morals? What happened to the morals? It says a state may lawfully exercise its police power to protect public health, safety, welfare, and morals. Where's the morals of our law enforcement these days? What has happened to the compassion, honor, integrity, respect in relation to our law enforcement today? We have to get that back, y'all, by promulgating laws and regulations that reasonably regulate occupations. However, an overbroad statute, again, we don't do with those overbroad statutes because we invoke the rule of lenity and we eliminate that overly broad aspect. Violates substantive due process by depriving a person of a constitutionally protected interest through means which are not rationally related to a valid state objective because it sweeps unnecessarily broadly. Thank you. Ching chong, bing-bo. Rule of lenity. The right of an individual to engage in any of the common occupations of life. A common occupation. Oh my God, this is perfectly said as well. Listen to this phrase and really understand what it means, okay? There are certain things in life that you just have to naturally do, okay? You naturally have to do lots of different things. One of those things that is naturally here is, an occupation of life, right? Is to either hunt, harvest your food, all those things, right? You have to sustain yourself. Another is travel. You cannot be limited in relation to your travel if it doesn't impede on others' safety whatsoever. So, the right of an individual to engage in any of the common occupations of life, right? You're doing your things that you have to do to live and sustain yourself, is among the several fundamental liberties protected by the due process and equal protection clauses of the 14th Amendment. However, neither the federal nor any state's constitution secures to any person the liberty to conduct a business so as to injure the public at large or any substantial group. Perfectly said. I agree. A statute constitutionally can prohibit an individual from practicing a lawful profession only for reasons related to the individual's fitness or competence to practice that profession. Before the police power of the state is used to prohibit the conduct of an individual as unprofessional, offending actions that do not fall clearly within the scope of the prescription must be explicitly defined as wrongful, meaning that, okay, let's read this one more time because I want to explain this one a little more. Before the police power of the state is used to prohibit any conduct of an individual as unprofessional, offending actions that do not fall clearly within the scope of the proscription or the legislature must be explicitly defined as wrongful in the legislature, right? So let's do this. I can never get a forgery charge for this plate. If I go put this on my motorcycle, I can never get a forgery or fictitious charge for this plate. Why? It's mine. Okay? It's my plate. Okay? 2, nowhere in the legislature does it say that I cannot have this on my private property. Anywhere. Doesn't say it. Now let's put that into Luis's situation. They're giving him a forgery charge for his own license plate. Or, excuse me, it's not a license plate. It's a notice plate. His own notice plate. His own plate that he wanted to put on his private property. If it's not explicitly defined as wrongful and does not clearly fall within the scope of the legislation or the prescription, because it must be explicitly defined, then it cannot be brought forth as a crime. Why? Because it violates due process. There must be notice given to you of a wrongful act. You understand? Do you understand? Do you comprehend? I know it gets deep. But that's how these things work. Now, the right to travel is a part of the liberty of which a person cannot be deprived without due process of law. Thank you. I'm sitting here speaking on it. So the right to travel is a fundamental right and a part of the liberty of which a person cannot be deprived without due process of law and is closely related to the rights of free speech and association. It enjoys a unique and protected place in our national heritage and is an important aspect of a citizen's liberty under the Fifth Amendment and the 14th Amendment. Why? Because it's an aspect of life. You have to travel in life, just like you have to eat in life, just like you have to. I mean, there's so many things in life that are required to live. You cannot regulate those elements. Accordingly, restrictions on the right to travel cannot be dismissed as by asserting that the right to travel can be fully exercised if the individual first gives up membership in a given association. CJS Constitutional Law Section 2125. Due process considerations with respect to right to travel. An individual's right to personal liberty is a fundamental right for equal protection purposes. Other recognized fundamental rights for purposes of equal protection analysis include the right to vote, the right of interstate travel. Again, in Constitutional Law, Section 1599, civil or personal rights, the right of interstate travel is a basic or fundamental right recognized and guaranteed by the Constitution. 16A, Constitutional Law, Section 786, interstate travel. The people further have the unalienable right to use the streets and public places. Additionally, the guarantee of the rights and immunities of a citizen ensures him or her the privilege of having those rights and immunities judicially declared and protected. Again, Constitutional Law, Section 1207, 14th Amendment. The claim of exercising and passive invocation of a constitutional right cannot be considered a crime. Again, Lewis versus State, 1972. Cited 127 times in Lewis versus State, 1972. We held that a juvenile statement cannot be used against him in a trial unless he or his parents or guardian were informed of his Miranda rights. Constitutional rights cannot be judged by the exacting standards of maturity. And turned into a crime. The United States Supreme Court in Haley versus Ohio, 1948. Okay? An occupant can act on the presumption and refuse to consent to entry without having determined if an exception to the warrant requirement exists. And passive invocation of this constitutional right cannot be considered a crime. At 1351, Miranda versus Arizona, citing cases holding that law enforcement officers must warn an individual of certain constitutional rights and the consequences of waiving those rights prior to conducting a custodial interrogation. Now, let me ask you this. Do they do that? Do they do that? Are they doing as they're supposed to be doing? Did you hear what that said? Let's read it again. Miranda versus Arizona, citing cases holding that law enforcement officers must warn an individual of certain constitutional rights and the consequences of waiving those rights prior to conducting a custodial interrogation. That means pulling you over. Did you know that? Did you know that officers must warn an individual of constitutional rights and consequences of waiving those rights prior to conducting a custodial interrogation? Also, holding that right to remain silent can be invoked anytime prior to or during questioning. Because if they're not, it's like my boy Heaven Gateman just said. That falls under the doctrine of fruit of the poisonous tree. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Now we're talking about a whole new line of invoking principles. Oh, man. We get into that education and the knowledge. Can't you stop us now? No, you can't. We come, we run. I'm telling you, man, when we start learning, it's over with. It's over with. Administration of a free man is repugnant to his freedom. Constitutional law is that department of the law which treats constitutions and the validity of enactments as tested by the criterion of conformity to fundamental law. It is the field of law dealing with aspects of constitutional provisions such as restrictions on governmental powers and guarantees of rights. It is also the body of law deriving from the U.S. Constitution and dealing primarily with governmental powers, civil rights, and civil liberties. In constitutional law, the word constitution implies the written instrument agreed upon by the people, the trust as the absolute rule of action and decision for all departments and officers of governments. In God we trust. Does anybody know about that? In God we trust. Trust. Someone put me onto that. Shout out to Rob. In God we, at the very end of that, that's a trust. In God we trust. Bet you didn't think of it, did you, like that? You thought of it as in God we actually truly trust and believe in. In God, we, the people, have a trust. That should blow your brain up right there. In constitutional law, the word constitution implies the written instrument agreed upon by the people as an absolute rule of action and decision for all departments and officers of government in respect to all points covered by it, which must control until it is changed by the authority which established it. Us, the people, and that's it. Constitutional law, section 4. Constitutional law. The word constitution means a declaration of fundamental laws or principles for the government of a nation or state. A constitution is the fundamental law by which all people of the state are governed. It is the basic charter of state governance. A state constitution receives its force from the express will of the people, power of the people, power of the people, and is the embodiment of the will of the people, the will of the people, regarding the limit on governmental power, governmental power, governmental power. The legitimacy of any constitution is derived primarily from the consent of those agreeing to be bound by it. Where a constitution asserts a certain right or lays down a certain principle of law or principle, it speaks for the entire people as the supreme law. Whatever the Constitution prescribes, the General Assembly and every officer or citizen to whom the mandate is addressed must do, and whatever it prohibits, the General Assembly and every officer and citizen must refrain from doing. The government has broad powers, but the means it uses to achieve its ends must be consistent with the letter and spirit of the Constitution. A strong public desire to improve the public condition is not enough to warrant achieving the desire by a shorter cut than the constitutional way. The powers granted under the Constitution are not infinite. The power of the Constitution grants, it also restrains. Although a constitution may be either written, as in the case of the United States, or unwritten, as in the case of the Great Britain, the word constitution, as applied to the organization of our federal and state governments, always implies a written document which is understood to have been enacted by the direct action of the people. A constitution is a fundamental document which, when recognizing citizens' rights and establishing government, provides essential checks and balances whose complexity is to be neither undervalued nor disregarded. Duty. Section 1. A constitution serves to protect the people against arbitrary power. The basic purposes of a written constitution are to secure to people certain unchangeable rights and remedies. Remedies. I need my rights and remedies with all full faith and credit, baby. And to curtail unrestricted governmental activity within defined fields. You ain't gonna tell me what I gotta do in my car, bro. You ain't gonna tell me that I gotta bow down to you and do what you say when I know I ain't committed no crimes. I don't care what you find me suspicious of. You ain't running nothing. Violate me if you want. We'll go to civil court. I'll take your ass to civil court. I want to be nice. I want to be cool. But when it comes down to disrespect of my rights or any of my people's rights anymore, I'm not dealing with it. We cannot do this anymore, y'all. We have to come back to empowering each other with knowledge, wisdom, and education. Again, standing forth and bringing forth honor, integrity, morality, compassion. We have to unify our communities, not against them. It's us all together as a community to get rid of the bad and heal the sickness, man. That's what this is all about. The guarantees provided by the federal and state constitutions apply equally to all and cannot be defined to any one person without weakening the rights of all. Did you hear that? The guarantees provided by the federal and state constitutions apply equally to all and cannot be denied to any one person without weakening the rights of all. Because I am you and we are us, all a part of the great I am. We are all one. When we see Susan getting pulled out of her car, beat up and tased when she's just standing up for her rights, that hurts me. That hurts the ether. That hurts the collective consciousness, bro. You think it's just a physical act that you're doing? You got to understand your actions are on multiple levels here, man. Layers of reality. This is spiritual warfare, y'all. In a sense, it's spiritual warfare to get rid of that sickness that is eating our society away, indoctrinating us to feel this way, intimidating and placing this cloud of fear upon us that we must bow down and do as we're told, or we're harming you. That is the most ludicrous society that I can fathom. I cannot fathom how we've gone from freedom to do as I say because papers aren't in a certain status or order, or we are going to enforce and harm against you. What is that about? How did that happen? What happened to being an honor and serving your people? What happened to kindness, morality, just morals, dude? I just don't get it. It's all the time. It's everywhere. It's prevalent. And I don't understand it. If you can't properly serve the people, then you have to go. I'm sorry. You have to go. A constitution to protect the people against arbitrary power. The basic purposes of a written constitution are to secure the people certain unchangeable rights. Okay? Indeed, a constitution is not primarily designed to protect majorities who are usually able to protect themselves, but to preserve and protect the rights of individuals and minorities against the arbitrary actions of those in authority. It is thus a function of constitutions to declare and protect fundamental rights. A constitution is intended to preserve practical and substantial rights, not to maintain theories of who you think you are. A constitution is therefore concerned with practical substantive rights, not with those that are unclear and gain hold to subtle and involved reasoning. Constitutional rights cannot be created by statutes or rules, nor can they be abrogated by executive or judicial action. You heard that term, null and void? If the state tries to impose something that is against you, that violates your constitutional rights, you can operate as that thing is null and void and with impunity. That is within our Supreme Court opinion. They're not playing about that. They said, hey, man, if you know it to be null and void, go out there and operate with impunity. And if they violate you, just come see us, bring forth the complaint. We'll take it forth from there. We're going to tell you to go ahead and try and do an alternative dispute resolution before we, waste all of our time going through discovery and everything else to get this bad boy to jury trial. But I mean, hey, we're telling you to do what you know to do if you're educated enough. Just saying. That's the basis of it, y'all. Further, the absence of an enabling statute cannot be construed to nullify rights provided by a constitution if those rights are sufficiently specific, which all these things that we've been reading as far as case law, none of it's been omitted, repealed. Declaration and protection of fundamental rights. The principal features of the American system of government established by the United States Constitution includes representative government, dual government, involving both state and federal aspects, the securing of individual rights, purposes, or Section 8, purpose, application, and effect of the United States, and privileges through constitutional restrictions, and a separation of powers among the legislative, executive, and judicial branches of either government, as well as between the government themselves. The Constitution of the United States was ordained and established not by the states and their sovereign capacities, but as the preamble to the Constitution declares, by the people of the United States, and was adopted as their voluntary act for their own protection. It was particularly intended to affect individuals rather than states. Citing Constitutional Law Section 8. Okay? Now, we the people... Oh, let me get a drink. This is a quote, by the way. It still is racketeering. What's up, MBZ? What's up, Ray Ross? What's up, B Ballin? What's up, Jersey Bob? How's it going, Blue Sky? What else we got in this thing? What's up, Kenny Edwards? I'm the squeaky wheel. Keep squeaking, brother. Blue Sky, what's up? Let's see. Who else we got in this thing? David Hass, I see you in this thing, boy. Who else we got? Still Sly Shy. I see you, Jonathan. What's up, Jonathan? How's it going, Sean? I wanted to shout out to everybody real quick, y'all. What's up, Laura? I see you as well. Be ballin'. John, what's going on, John? I see you, bro. All right. I see you, other Sean. Two Seans in here. We got both of them. All right. So let me see. Intended to affect... Okay, now, quote, we the people of the United States were promised a constitutional republic, not a democracy. Thus, a republican form of government guaranteed to the states by the United States Constitution cannot be dispensed with or abolished. 16 Am Juris 2D Constitutional Law, Section 21, subject matter and permissible scope of amendments to state constitutions, federal limitations. We, the people of the United States, have been deprived of our constitutional republic for far too long with an aristocracy. Oh, I hate that word. Aristocracy. Oh, I hate that word. Oh, I hate it. I really do hate it. I hate it. I hate saying this word. I've always hated saying this word. And my thing won't do a speech. Nope. Of lawyers making bogus excuses to ignore fundamental constitutional rights protected by this Constitution for the United States of America. Unquote. Another one. Quote, we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote general welfare. What is the only thing that we do here? Promote general welfare and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Did ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Aristocracy. I hate that word, though. I always hate that word. Unquote. Again, Section 10, adoption of the United States Constitution. So, in the United States, the Congress and all of its members, as well as the President of the United States, all state and federal officials, and all state and federal courts and judges are as bound by the United States Constitutions as are ordinary citizens. Okay? This would include sheriffs and all law enforcement are bound by the United States Constitution. Notice principles, notice the agent and officer and or employee. or employee. So, yeah. How'd y'all like that one? How did y'all like that one? All right, what are we gonna do here? I want to give away some. It's the New Year's, bro. We got the I want to give y'all, actually, let's do this real quick. I want to show y'all what's going on tonight at 6 p.m. At 6 p.m. At 6 p.m. Let's see, window, and we're gonna be doing this bad boy right here, right? Okay. So at 6 p.m. If I can do, yeah, I can. Good. Okay, so we're going to at 6 p.m. tonight, y'all. We're having another Operation Wisdom meeting. It's going to be the 5th one. Okay, it's going to be tonight at 6 p.m. Okay, it's going to be on Zoom, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm over here on the West Coast, y'all. This link right here is for Zoom. All you do is click on it. It goes directly to it. Look, boom, you're in the meeting. You're ready to go. Okay, that's how it works. If you want to learn more about it, you can. You can check in also to all of our foundational members. These 20 people right here pay $10 a month to make sure that we can have this thing every month, which is the Chat GPT. We've had 2 big donations so far as well. People just giving a donation. Uh-oh. My Zoom's trying to open up on me, y'all. Hold on. You would want to do that. I knew I shouldn't have put it on settings to automatically open. I knew I shouldn't have did it. Come on, MacBook. Can you just quit Zoom, please? My gosh. Force quit. Force quit. Force quit. Get out of here. Yeah, you get out of here too, buddy. Bye messages. Okay. So that's tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay, guys. Hope y'all are showing up. Yes, thanks to all the donors. They're on there. We got them. We're showing some love. So again, click that Zoom link tonight. We'll be live if you want to come through and get some help. Again, there's an overview of everything that we do within this community. Then I want y'all to remember also that I wrote a book. So if you're wanting to get into an audio book, this book is based on my experiences over the past 9 years, y'all. 9 years I've been doing this. So it gives everything in relation to all of my cases, all the aspects of everything that I've done. It comes in an ebook and audio book as well if you want for digital, or you can come over here to the, you can get a soft copy as well if you wanted to. So I got soft copies, and then I also got digital aspects with the ebook, PDF, and audio book as well. And then something that's really important to me is that if y'all are all wanting to just, if you're like the first time here, right? You're like, man, Cameron, this is a lot of info. Cameron, like you talk info, bro. Like, I know I give a lot of info, but there's also the aspects that you can come to, like my right to travel course, right? And this guy in this video right here, which I have a federal lawsuit on right now, both of these guys, both got a federal lawsuit on them, where they just got served this last week. Anyways, so this one right here, this guy right here even says this, the darker gentleman, heavy melanated being, he stated on the record, on his body cam, no, I get it. After I showed him paperwork, he said, no, I get it, man. You're not driving, you're traveling, you're doing commerce. And I see you use Black Law's dictionary as well. Let me go. No tickets. They know the difference, y'all. So if you want to do go through this course on the documents, the abatements, the memorandum of abatements, the motion to strike, the Chevron deference, all you got is put in your email in here, okay, your name and email, and it goes right to the next page. And what it does is you'll have all the documents and all the video playlists. It's free, y'all. I don't charge. Okay. And then let me see what else we got. Traffic law reform. This one's a big one for me. I think this is one of my most bigger things that I'm trying to accomplish and make sure that we bring forth to fruition. And this is our project. This is our biggest project. We are going to change everything in relation to traffic law. We are moving for the states to change to a decriminalization of all traffic laws. Okay. That way we stop having the theft of our individuals' private property and all of the fines that just are hurting our people. And they're for what? Status of within a system. It's pretty ridiculous. Okay. So within, I think, where's my traffic law reform. I need to actually put some better links in here because this, I don't learn more. I guess it goes right to it right here, right now. Do need to put some better links. But we got 613 signatures on this bad boy. That's a lot, though. I'm proud of having 613 signatures. Jesse Wheeler as of 2 hours ago, thank you. David Bob Gartner as of 3 hours ago, thank you. James Stone signing 5 hours ago, thank you. Rochelle Anderson signed 5 hours ago, thank you, Rochelle. Robert Moan 6 hours ago. Sandra Weisinger 6 hours ago, thank you. Zahir Robbins 8 hours ago, thank you. Gabrielle Lopez 8 hours ago, thank you for signing. So you see what we got going on. People are getting to it, y'all. Nathan Haywood, Chad Freeman 12 hours ago. But again, once we get to 1,000, we are definitely sending this off. And how I have it planned, y'all, I just want to know this. How I have it planned is the aspect that I'm going to develop this folder. This folder is going to be through an Etsy or some kind of nice person that deals with paper on a higher end. And the folder within it is going to have real beautiful paper. Okay, we're going to have maybe wrapped up with some leather, some punch holes, wax with a seal on that bad boy, and a petition. Okay, and behind this initial petition, there's going to be all of the papers of all of y'all's signatures. Okay, once it gets to 1,000, and we're sending this off very nicely over to all of our senators and representatives, mayors, all of the higher ups. Okay, later on down the road, we'll get to the sheriffs of every counties and wherever we can. And we're doing this to show that, hey, man, we're serious. We, the people who are serious about this, this is what we want. This is what we're demanding. Again, we say what goes. So if we say what goes, all it takes is us to make it happen. And that's been the difference between what I've been seeing going on as far as a lot of people talking about things, but then not putting forth the work to actually get change. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is about education, making sure to empower all of you so that you can live free and know who you are without fear. Because fear is a burden. Fear hurts a lot of people. Fear turns into depression. Fear turns into all types of things, y'all. Fear can cause PTSD. I mean, fear is a major control mechanism. They use that. But if you break fear alone and intimidation, do you know how much more your life is like? Your life is like, you're like, you're free and you live it. You don't worry because it's like you already see what you know is going to come forth because there is no fear or worry. So you don't operate in a manner of fear to where you hinder yourself to make the best decisions to empower somebody else by your education and knowledge. You're demanding it because you're not waiving anything. There's a big difference if you see what I'm saying, right? So yes, then we got like I said, we're sending it off to the big boys. We just need, there's been a lot of people that's given their opinions as well. They've come in here and shared their opinions. Let's check this one out real quick. So this one says, Richard in Denver says, my entire adult life has been hijacked via over enthusiastic policing. I've lost jobs, automobiles, relationships, freedom, and stacks of money. Fun fact, I have never been in an accident, be it at fault or another's. Police have never found stolen property, bodies, or drugs in my cars or trucks. Never have had a speeding ticket or any other violation concerning my safety on the roads. These are all facts, but I have been through the system 5 times, even though in hindsight, nothing ever happened. Besides me being fleeced into the poorhouse. The state has always been the plaintiff, a flippin' greedy corporation. And again, that just goes to show, oh, I'm over here talking to y'all and y'all not seeing the screen. Where is it at? This one? Yeah. My boy right here, Richard, Denver. And that's a crazy story just in itself of what he said. Like, I've never been in a wreck. I never got speeding tickets, but I've been through the jail system 5 times just for not having a status correct. That's pretty crazy to me. Everything in this world is a contract. It is. And it's up to you to establish the contract or be the one in contract, right? Are you the one contracted, right? Or are you contracting? I think there's a difference having the upper hand of the contract, forming the contract, right? And so those are some of the things I just wanted to show y'all as far as what we're doing. But I think tonight's going to be really good as far as our what do we got going on? Oh, what do we got going on? Operation Wisdom. Yeah, tonight we're gonna get deep. I'm gonna run through the process. One of the main focuses I want to do tonight is I got a couple people we're gonna introduce. Tribe, I want you to come on too. You can introduce yourself tonight. Let everybody know what you're doing too. That'd be really cool to introduce yourself to the whole community. I would really love that. I got other people that are gonna want to introduce themselves as well. Some good. We always give time for that, big time for every new person that comes on. I want to know who we're working with. And what else? What I also want to do though is run people through Luis's process thus far, because he's fighting a felony all on his own, no attorney whatsoever. From the very beginning, he's been pro se on this, pro persona, whatever. And I just want to show you where we are, because we're about I would say 4 or 5 steps ahead of the prosecution in the state where it currently is at. Right, we're right before omnibus. I think he just filed for another hearing, a notice hearing in the afternoon to get this taken care of finally and get it completely dismissed. But the things that we've done and seen already in Luis's situation, and as far as we're already at the point now where we've prepared the stay and injunctive relief. So we've gotten pretty far in his process as far as where we would need to be. And I just want to share that process, all of those documents, the process itself, how we've pinpointed and nailed the exact statutes, the definitions, and we put the state in a very, very hard position to prove anything or to move forward in any manner. I mean, we're going strictly at constitutional violations. We're not even talking about the crimes at this point, right? That they're alleging. So I think it's just really good, and I think we're going to focus on that, the process of what you do from beginning to end in some sort of prosecution, if you choose to go the route that we're going, which are several routes, but at least with us, we can show that through our route we're effective, right? We go in and we fight. We want to hear what they got to say, and we want to get it on the record. So with that, I want to give away a couple more books. I want to give a couple books away, but I got to make some kind of way to do this. So, based on what we did, let's see. What did we speak about? How do I want to do a giveaway for a book right now? What's up, Lynn? What's up, Celio? What's up, Kinetic? I ain't seen you in here in a minute, bro. Celio, John, Sean's still in this thing. I see y'all. Brandy, how's it going? First time here. Nice to meet you. Let me see. I want to. Okay. Well, how about we do this? I know it sucks for my people that are going to be behind. They're not live right now, but first 5 people to give me their email gets a free copy of my book. How about that? How about that? Y'all better hurry. Y'all better hurry. Better hurry, hurry. Put your email in the chat. First 5 of you gonna get it that. Yeah. Yeah, Brian was cool. I love Brian. Brian's my boy. Brian is my boy. He's always been there. Brian is, I've always loved Brian, bro, because he just says it how it is. I remember I kind of miss some of his documentary days. He used to do documentaries. And those documentaries were so powerful. I understand it takes time. Right now, I'm working on my second part for my qualified immunity documentary in relation to Carlton Reeves. And I love Brian. Like, he's always been there to support me. He gave a great analysis. He's a freedom fighter, man. I really love Brian. I really do. I hold him true to my heart. That's for sure. Okay, so I see 1 email. I see 2 emails. Come on now. I need 3 more emails. Y'all want a copy of this book, man? What's up, 1 of 1? What's up, Chiqui 17 or Chique 17? What's up, breaking news now? Hey, hey, hey. Come on now. Oh, Lynn Davison at Gmail. So slick. I like that. 1 of 1. He said he got mine. That's good. How you like the book, brother? Took me some time. Took me a lot of time. Took me a lot of long years of experience. But I can say, man, after 9 years, I never was like taken to jail, and I'm very thankful for that. My rights were violated several times. I was harassed. I was violated as far as having hands being placed against me, false charges when there was none. I mean, my liberties most definitely have been violated, but at least I can thank the great creator that, I've always stood up for myself. I've never allowed injustice to come upon me, and that's just the spirit of my ancestors. I feel like that just flows through me. I feel like I don't know how to get away from that, because like my other family is just not that way. They're very by the book, and it's just some spirit. I guess maybe it's my past life, bro. Maybe I just came back too quick, and like immediately after passing, I just came here, boom, into this realm. And that defiance has just always been within me, to where I will not allow anybody to tell me what to do if I ain't done nothing wrong, because I am such a good spirit. Like, I'm such a good heart. Like, all I do, I got y'all. Don't worry, I got y'all. I'm gonna send these books. I've already y'all are in this live chat. I got a screenshot though. Hold on. Right there. Yeah. I got a screenshot these. Sorry, I'm screenshotting these emails for everybody's book real quick. So I want to make sure that okay. So, but what I want to say is I love y'all. Y'all know that. Y'all see me at 6 p.m. Everybody's gonna be in this thing. It's gonna be live. The last one was really good. Episode 4 was so much fun. We had so much fun. We was all over. We covered so much. It was great episode. It was a good time. So hopefully y'all come tonight. Operation Wise Dome. Links in the description. I just want to say I love you. I am you, and we are us, and we are all a part of the great I am. Everything, this whole realm, everything in existence is the great creator. And I just want to thank y'all for being a part of we the people that are empowering, or you're coming forth with knowledge, and you're spreading this information, because we are growing at an exponential rate. I mean, it's all over the place, and it's great to see, because we're going to continue this forward. And when we get up to 1,000 signatures on this traffic law reform, it's really going to move forward like we've never seen before. And there's going to be a lot of aspects where I'm going to have y'all's help. Y'all are going to have to be associates, or whatever title that you want within the actual traffic we the people organization, to actually answer emails, be ambassadors, and speak out to representatives within your state, the mayors, and all that aspect, to actually get this petition put in place to decriminalize all traffic law. It's the whole point. That's the whole point of everything we're doing. We're not just sitting here to sell books and sell courses. That's not my thing. My thing is to change it so that my children don't have to go through this. My children are of age to get on these roads. I don't want the same things that's been happening to me to happen to them. And it's not the aspect of, well, just tell them to get a license, Cameron, and pay up. No, sir, we don't have to. That's the point. We don't have to. We don't consent. You're not going to tell us what to do. I'm not going to fall in line as though as a slave, because I operate myself as one of a king, a sovereign, right? I'm free. My ancestors were free, and I will continue to be free, and no one will tell us what to do. I love you. Okay? Let's keep this spirit of freedom, compassion, honor, integrity, morality inside, express it out into the world, be the best that you can, and touch somebody's heart today. Touch somebody's heart today. Please. I love you. We'll talk on the next one. Bye, y'all. How do I end this thing? Do I open? What do I do? In stream. I love y'all. Bye.